Chapter 6. I didn't go to my gallery yesterday. I wasted my time reading a bad Nepali novel, a recent release. It took real effort to finish it. It had nothing new in substance or in style. I would have been better off watching a movie, going to a restaurant, or visiting Nagarkot or Kakani. I prefer Kakani to Nagarkot because it's closer to the mountains and windier. My imagination runs free in the breeze. Standing on a windy hillside, I feel far away from Kathmandu, but the badness of the novel truly upset me. Why had I wasted my money on it? I couldn't sleep and spent the whole night painting. It was morning before I finally went to bed. I woke up in the afternoon. The first thing I did was to put the novel on top of a pile of newspaper bound for recycling. I felt better after that. I resolved not to read other Nepali novel for at least few months. To refresh myself, I drink a lot of cold water, then put the kettle on for coffee. I made some toast. Where was the jar of strawberry jam? I peeled and chopped some potatoes. Then fried them with cumin. Then I fried some salami. After breakfast, I cleaned up after myself. I wasn't satisfied with the painting that hung on my dining room wall. I hadn't been myself when I painted it. I still hadn't been able to think of a little for it. I wasn't even sure what to do with it. I went to get the newspapers. The newspaper boy had left them wedged in the fork of a tree. I took them with me to the bathroom. The headlines were depressing, but the cartoons were funny. I had just gotten out of the shower when the phone rang when I couldn't get to it in time. I thought if it's important, they'll call me on my mobile. And then there was a email. There was no reason to hurry in this country. Time was standing still. Later, Fulan called. Our French diplomat wanted to see my paintings and had asked when I would be at the gallery. I told her to make an appointment at any time convenient for him. Back in the kitchen, I spread some jam on a piece of bread. It was about time I bought some fresh bread. Perhaps that evening I'd stroll through Tapatali and Dharmarg to the bakery in Tamil. The weather outside looked pleasant and the streets might still be carpeted with blue jacaranda flowers. I'd started a series of painting on jacarandas, but I had stopped halfway through the first painting, dissatisfied with one of the figures. A college girl on her way to campus walking along a street strewn with blue flowers. I still could find the inspiration to finish it. If I saw that street again, perhaps I would be able to capture its light. Light's always been my greatest challenge. I had an easy time with watercolors but prefer oils. They were more labor intensive but allowed me to explore the depth of my subjects and tested my ability as an artist. My subjects were usually drawn from local life. I wanted to depict the time I was living in and the place around me. I missed my college days and longed to enroll in a good art school. I had always dreamt of studying in Paris. If I could sell a few paintings at high prices, perhaps I could afford to go. But I'd probably be too expensive. It would be probably be too expensive. I could always go to the JJ School of Art in Mumbai or the Santiniketan in West Bengal. But if I could afford it, my first choice would definitely be Europe. The galleries and museums, there are institutions of learning in their own right. I could spend months just exploring them. The only thing I need in Europe would be devotion to art and the ability to deal with the stress. But where would I find inspiration? I had been falling a bit empty for some time. I wasn't close to any other artists in Kathmandu. I didn't find any of them inspiring. I rarely went to their exhibitions, finding the atmosphere sterile, with viewers moving tightly from one painting to another. People never discussed art at these exhibitions, and I truly dislike the costume of having important people do the openings. Why? For the media coverage they attracted, or for their thick wallets and the hope they might buy a painting or two. I feel artists should try to attract the younger generation, PALPASA's generation, to their exhibitions. If that generation developed a taste for art, it would be its future market, and they would look at painting with critical eyes and offer valuable feedback. A few months ago, a young Dutch woman spent a whole day in my gallery. Before she left, she said, "You make beautiful paintings, but they are cold. In most of them, the color doesn't seem to suit the subject matter." I was stunned. It was the first time anyone had said anything so critical about my work. I felt like I had been slapped in the face. Until then, most of the people who had said they didn't understand my art were visually illiterate, and I had never taken their comments seriously. But I could tell this woman understood art. I couldn't dismiss her criticism lightly. I couldn't think of any response even as I gathered up her bag and walked towards the door. She was already going down the stairs when I finally spoke. "Excuse me, could you tell me why my paintings look cold?" Her face brightened in the darkness of the stairwell. She smiled and said, "You'd have to find the answer to that yourself. You are the artist." Then she left, leaving me speechless again. I turned to my paintings and spent a long time examining them. I was dismayed. It felt as though I had switched off the music which had been playing in the gallery, but I was glad she had made me question the quality of my work. I drank wine late night. I drank wine late into the night. Brooding, I found a box of Cuban cigars a tourist had given me ages earlier. I lit one and took a strong drag. Fulon told me later that the Dutch woman had come to the gallery the following day as well. She had spent 3 hours there, studying two of the paintings in particular. She had also come the day after that. Fulon had had to keep the gallery open for 2 extra hours just for her. After studying the paintings in silence, the woman had told Fulon she was leaving Nepal the next day. She had taken my visiting card and some digital photos of my paintings and left. I was thrilled when Fulon told me that. I had never been able to have even a single solo exhibition. For artists, exhibitions are like publication for writers, stage shows for singers, or byline stories for journalists. I dreamt of having solo exhibitions not only in Kathmandu but also in Delhi and even one day in Paris. I wanted my paintings to be shown at the National Gallery of Art in London and the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. To be hung in the Louvre would be the pinnacle of success. But my paintings were cold. The Dutch woman had said they would never attract the attention of international critics. I realized I still had a lot of work to do. Dutch women had left me with the most difficult homework of my life. The days passed as I painted the Chandragiri Hills orange. My inability to find ways to get rid of the coldness in my works brought me down. I became increasingly desperate and reclusive, and eventually didn't even dare to pick up a paintbrush. When I looked out my window in the evenings, all I saw were birds of prey, eagles and vultures circling in the sky. Fulon phoned several times during this period. She was worried about me. She kept asking how I was, and I would hang up after giving her one curt reply or another. I spawned dozens of invitations of exhibitions. I had read about Later, in the newspaper, journalists mentioned that so and so's exhibition had been opened by so and so, but never ventured an opinion on the art itself. I didn't even meet my friends during that time, and they assumed I was busy, didn't contact me either. They stopped sending emails. I hadn't heard from Cheating for a long time, but I didn't disturb him. I figured he was busy finalizing his book of photographs. One day I noticed my kitchen stank of sulfur and realized some eggs had rotted. I cleaned the whole house and felt better afterwards. The phone rang just as I was finishing. It was Fulan. She said, "There's a personal letter for you, sir." "I've told you not to call me, sir," I said. "Sorry, sir," she said. Sorry, Di. I didn't open it since it's personal. I'll read it later." "Aren't you ever coming to the gallery?" she asked. "A few customers are asking for appointments, sir." "Oh, sorry," I said, "sir," again. She sounded flustered. She was probably getting anxious. I hadn't paid her for the past few months and was feeling guilty about it. I wondered if she was still going to college in the morning. I had brought Fulan to Kathmandu from Dang district, assuring her parents I would send her back after she got a university degree. She was a Tharu. She had attended an English medium school and gotten a first division in the school leaving certificate. I wanted her to make her community proud. She now lived in a women's hostel, attending classes in the morning and looking after my gallery in the afternoon. I wonder what she thought of my bohemian's ways. "The letter must be from the Dutchman," Fulan said. "What makes you think so?" "It comes from the Netherlands." "Who else could it be?" she replied. I was intrigued but also worried about what the letter might say. Later that the day, I walked to the gallery with a heavy heart. A Japanese aid project had set up new traffic lights at one intersection. They eased the flow of traffic slightly, but the majority of people simply ignored them. Which politician was in who promised to make Nepal as developed as Japan? Only after Nepal was as developed as Japan would these traffic lights serve any purpose. The old traffic lights in front of Singhadarbar were out of order. As I entered the gallery, a jeep passed narrowly, missing me, its horn blaring. I followed it and found Fulan waiting for me at the gallery door. "We have lost weight," she remarked. "Where's the letter?" I asked. I had it in her hand. She had it in her hand. She thought she had been waiting to give it to me. It was from the Dutchman. I read, "Dear Nepali artist, I felt lost for several days after returning to Amsterdam. I thought about your paintings a lot. There are many art galleries here. I visited several of them and concluded that the medium you used and the colors and brushstroke in your work are actually brilliant. There's motion and melody in your art. Still, I told you your paintings were cold and you asked me why. Let me tell you, I now realize the problem doesn't lie in your work. It's actually the color of your gallery walls. The green walls are all wrong for your work. That green doesn't do justice to your paintings. It lessens their impact. Please forgive my thoughtless comment. I hope you'll paint your gallery wall a different color. The next time I am in Nepal, I'll visit your gallery first thing." Written at the bottom in slanted letters was her name, Christina. She had also sent a picture of gallery in Amsterdam and a small book on painting. Silently, I thanked her.